Hey everybody, I'm Hannah Chalker. You are watching Roll Title, the Alabama Championship Special right here on SEC Country. It is a great day to be a Crimson Tide fan because we have a special show coming up for you today. Not only do we have the parade live, we will also have the ceremony and trophy presentation coming up in just a few minutes. All right, the parade is underway right now in Tuscaloosa. It began at Denny Chimes, and I'm not the only one on the broadcast today. My co-host, Mike Johnson, is here live from Tuscaloosa. Mike, what's going on, buddy? Hey, Mike, what's the atmosphere like there?
Yeah, Hannah, I'm having a little bit trouble hearing you right now. The $1 Million Band just rolled by us right now, and they are doing their best to drown out everything we have as far as sound control systems go. But as you can see here, beautiful day here on campus in Tuscaloosa right now. The parade just started about 2 minutes ago. I'm standing down here by Denny Chimes where everything got kicked off. There is a million people here, a million Alabama fans out here. Everybody's still kind of in shock as to what they're seeing, from this team the last couple of weeks. But everybody's here. Everybody's ready to celebrate. I think the team is just starting to roll by here in a couple of seconds. You see them on some side-by-sides and some golf carts, and everybody is just happy and making their way towards the front of the stadium. So it's a good day so far.
1 million people there for the $1 Million Band. Mike, how did Alabama get back here? The school's 17th national title, Nick Saban's 6th national title overall, 5 with Alabama. Of course, that matches Bear Bryant. How did Alabama get back here? And describe what you're seeing there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for this Alabama team to get back here, and you mentioned it. This is it's been a heck of a run under Nick Saban, and so I think that's why these fans still continue to show up, still continue to come to events like this, because it was a struggle. It was a team that dealt with a ton of injuries. It was a team that dealt with obviously a quarterback controversy. It was a team that dealt with a ton of things along the way, and so when you look at what's going on right now, I think that's why you see the elation out of the Alabama fans, and that's why this fan base is so riled up right here right now. I'm telling you, I can barely hear you guys back in the studio, but I just want you to know it is a party here in Tuscaloosa down on the quad. Everybody is absolutely doing their best to drown out their voices.
Oh, we see fans there all over the place. You had a chance to catch up with some earlier. What were the fans saying to you? Mike, what were the fans saying to you there in Tuscaloosa? I know you got a chance to talk to some of them earlier today.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the fans right now. This is absolute pandemonium. Like you said, I caught up with some fans earlier today. A lot of people around here having a ton of fun. The fans I caught up with earlier today were no different.
Mike, of course, if nobody has watched Roll Title before, if you guys are new to Roll Title, we had a 4-part episode leading up to the national championship game against Georgia. This is our 5th episode, and if you guys don't know who Mike Johnson is, he's the captain on the 2009 national championship team. Mike, you've been here before. You've been in a national championship parade before. How does this one compare?
Yeah, we didn't actually get a parade back in 2009. That's what's so crazy about being a part of this. Yeah, that's what's been so crazy about being a part of this. I talked to some fans earlier today that were at the 1992 National Championship Parade. I talked to people that were there in 2009. In 2009, when we won this ring right here, it was freezing cold outside. It was rainy. Everybody stayed in the stadium. It's complete opposite today. It's about 60 degrees here in Tuscaloosa. There's not a cloud in the sky, and that's why you see hundreds, literally hundreds of thousands of people lining the streets out here today. Everybody's in a great mood.
If you guys are watching to us on Facebook Live, you just saw some of the Alabama defense. Sean Dion Hamilton was there, Minka Fitzpatrick. What has this Alabama defense meant to the team?
Yeah, this defense has been incredible, and Minka Fitzpatrick's been a cornerstone of it. He's a guy that brought his teammates along. Obviously, playing a position like he does back in the secondary, he means a ton to what Nick Saban's trying to do. He is a coach on the field for the secondary, and I think that's why he commands so much respect. Obviously, a ton of people expect him to do a lot of things in the NFL. You're looking at probably a top 15, top 10 draft pick. He has already announced his decision to head to the NFL. I think any NFL team that gets Minka Fitzpatrick in their defensive backfield is a lucky team. I think anybody would be excited to have him, and his presence on this defense and on this team as one of the playmakers, as one of the leaders, is the reason you see this team here right now. I think that Minka Fitzpatrick's name will become synonymous with this 2017 national title.
We're also taking a live look at the running backs, junior running back Damian Harris is there throwing out what looks like some t-shirts. The offensive line as well, we're about to take a live look at them right now. So the offensive line, of course, creating holes for those running backs. Talk about how well they performed this season, Mike.
Yeah, I think you said you just saw Damian Harris. Obviously, when you talk about the offense, when you talk about the way this offense evolved, when you talk about two quarterbacks playing in the national title game, Damian Harris was one of those essential pieces. He was a running back piece that was able to really be a stalwart of this offense. I mean, they started handing him the ball a ton later on in the year. Himself, Bo Scarborough, Najee Harris, all these running backs being able to get the job done. I think it's a big deal when you talk about the offensive line and the way they really kind of corrected things in the national title game. They were really stood up when you talk about the first half against Georgia. The offensive line, Damian Harris, Bradley Bozeman, the way they reacted in the second half, I think that's just part of the national championship lore for this team. It's one of those things where you see Bradley Bozeman and you see a Jonah Williams, and then a Ross Pierschbaker. You might not know them on the street like you do a Damian Harris, but I promise you, those guys were an essential part of what's going on right here today.
Offensive line also protecting the quarterbacks. We'll try to get you some shots of Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, Tua, you know, of course, the hero of the national championship game, but Hurts led the season all year long, the team to that national championship. Talk about what they both mean to the team and the surprise emergence of Tua.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I saw the Tagovailoa family earlier today walking around the Walk of Champions. They obviously moved all the way from Hawaii to be a part of this community, to be a part of the state of Alabama. He is a living legend right now. But everybody I've talked to, they have not forgotten about Jalen Hurts. They have not forgotten about what he did throughout the season to get them to that point. Tua, obviously, in hindsight, is what you needed in the second half if you're Nick Saban. But Jalen Hurts did so many great things for this team over the last couple of years. Both of these guys are absolute superstars right now. I saw Tua's little brother, Talia. He's walking around with his family earlier. Everybody wants to meet them. Everybody wants to take pictures with him. Tua Tagovailoa right now, and Jalen Hurts as well, both living legends. They have been in the centerpiece of this football team for the last couple of weeks. On a national stage, this thing played out, and you saw the way both of these guys have kind of grown up in front of your eyes, and I thought they handled everything in stride last week.
Mike, we've got a lot of comments for people watching Roll Title right now, and Becky Pritchard says, "This is so awesome. Tears are running down my cheeks. Roll Tide, gentlemen. We are so proud." Mike, just tell us once again, what is it like to actually be there? I'm so jealous. You're standing right next to the parade right now, and I'm here in Atlanta broadcasting.
I think I'm starting to lose Hannah a little bit. I wish I understood what the comment section was saying right now, because I'm sure it is buzzing right now. But as you can imagine, the volume is just too high right now to be heard. It's crazy right here, right now. I can talk forever about this football team, really. And I know the comment section's probably pouring in right now. That's one of the best things about Facebook Live with SEC Country. You get the comments, you get the Roll Tides, you get the Roll Tide rolls. If anybody has any questions, I'm hoping I can hear them here in just a second. But just to continue the conversation about this football team today, you know, you've seen Nick Saban all over campus, smile plastered on his face. I talked to Ryan Fowler earlier, Mark Burnett. Everybody associated with this team is still in awe of what they were able to do, and I'm sure those commenters there in the comment section on Facebook are feeling the exact same way. It's just they're awestruck at what this team came from with the loss against Auburn, to turn it around and beat Clemson and beat Georgia in consecutive weeks. It's just a historical high for a lot of people on this campus.
I see Deshaun Hand. I'm looking at a bunch of different players down on this national championship parade route. If you guys are just joining us, this is Roll Title. I'm Hannah Chalker. We've got Mike Johnson making his correspondent debut in Tuscaloosa for the national championship parade, Alabama's 17th national championship, this time with the college football playoff, of course, their second one under the college football playoff era. We're having a great time. We have a great show coming up for you after the parade. Stay with us the whole hour, because we will have the ceremony and trophy presentation. You'll hear from Nick Saban and team captains. This is so much fun that we're able to bring this to you live right here on SEC Country. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're also taking your questions and comments just like always. And Becca Jones is here. She says, smiling ear to ear, watching the excitement from the players. RTR. I'm just excited. Mike Johnson, let's check back in with you. How excited are you? What is this atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's just crazy. You can see everybody behind me starting to walk towards the Walk of Champions. So I think everybody's starting to follow Nick Saban. The player parade has kind of coming to a close right now. You see, obviously, the band's already passed by. The cheerleaders, people are starting to make their way towards the celebration down here. And this crowd's alive. That's the best thing I can say with it. These people have shown up in droves. Obviously, the weather's beautiful here today, and there is a ton of people. I mean, I would guess in the hundreds of thousands that have shown up today to, kind of celebrate this national title, number 17. Tuscaloosa's alive right now for sure.
You just mentioned that you saw Nick Saban. I'm sure he's on some kind of Mercedes with Miss Terry. You played for Nick Saban. What's a good Nick Saban story?
Yeah, Nick Saban's story. I got a ton of them. Listen, I got my butt chewed quite a few times by Nick Saban. It's no secret about that. And, he and I kind of chuckle about it every time I see him these days. I'm like, you remember when you got mad at me about that or mad at me about this? But the best Nick Saban stories I have are that he's just a funny guy. I mean, he's just one of those people that is enjoyable to be around. A lot of people don't get to see that angle of it. So I think that's why you see people in masses really gravitate towards him. It's his sense of responsibility, his micromanagement of the football team, but also just being a fun-loving coach. People around Tuscaloosa have gotten to know him, and he's become such a special figure, man. He really is a god here on campus.
Mike, a lot of people were doubting Nick Saban and Alabama earlier in the year, calling the team soft. There was a lot of haters, and of course they lost to the Iron Bowl. What has Nick Saban been able to do to earn his 6th national title?
Yeah, listen, Nick Saban's got the secrets, doesn't he? He seems to have some kind of special code figured out for NCAA football these days, and I think he's just a great manager of men. I think he's one of those people that's able to take over situations, understand the needs of each individual player, not just the needs of position groups or the needs of the team. He understands how to coach different players, and he learned that, obviously, coming up through the ranks. He's coached with Bill Belichick. He's coached at Michigan State. He's coached at Toledo, and obviously he finds himself here in Tuscaloosa. I think he knows how to read this team. He knows how to handle situations like Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. So it continues to react in the right direction for Nick Saban, and nobody's shocked around here anymore.
Mike, once again, for people just joining us, you were able to catch up with some of those fans earlier today. What did they tell you? And you need to get out in that parade.
Yeah, we caught up with some fans earlier. You had some Tua Tagovailoa fans that had their leis on, the Hawaiian leis. Everybody, that seems to be a big thing today. But the fans are just ecstatic. I mean, that's the bottom line. The fans are ecstatic. I kept asking the question over and over today, has your heart stopped racing from that national title game a couple of weeks ago? Most of the people I've talked to said absolutely not. Still can't believe what we saw. You thought that Alabama would have the opportunity to play a game like that, but to win it in overtime against a team like Georgia, I think this national championship and that game in particular is going to hold a special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Mike, this is your correspondent debut, your first time reporting on site. You're here for Roll Title on SEC Country. What's your day been like?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been able to catch up with a ton of people. I've had a ton of people come up and ask for pictures. Everybody sees the ring when the microphone's being held up to my face. Bama fans they remember everything. They remember, you tell them what your name is, they remember your position. They remember, you're an All-American. They remember this block on this different play, or that run in that game, or Terrence Cody's field goal block. So Bama fans are special in that way. College football fans are special in that way, where everybody's reacting, and they see the camera and they see the microphone, and they kind of want to feel it out, and they just want to get pictures with you and talk to you. And that's been one of the most enjoyable things about today.
I see that national championship ring kind of gleaming in the sun there. Just give your thoughts on this season. I know a lot of people here in the comment section want to know your thoughts. And of course, the big question is, Tua the next Alabama star?
Yeah, listen, I think it's been a crazy run, and obviously things are finally starting to calm down here volume-wise, and there's been a ton of roll tides going by. My thoughts on the season are this. This is a team that overcame a ton of adversity. They did a ton of special things. It's a team that is different from other Nick Saban national title teams, where they had to piece things together time after time, 10 minutes by 10 minutes. You go into different games with game plans, and you adapt and overcome. That's the phrase I'll remember about this football team this year, adapt and overcome. That's exactly what they've come to be known as. That's why 2017 is so special, and like I said earlier, that's why you see the fans reacting the way they are this year. This might be Nick Saban's 5th national title here, but this one is special in a lot of ways to a lot of different people.
Hey Mike, you're doing an awesome job. We're going to let you go and get ready for the ceremony, and if you guys are just joining us, we are going to have the ceremony in full and the trophy presentation. So Mike, you guys go get set for that, and we've got a lot more coming up on the show, all right?
Tim, 10-4. Yeah, we're gonna make our way down. Obviously, I'm standing at Denny Chimes right now, so we're about a quarter mile down to where the ceremony is, and we're gonna make sure we get it covered and get it done. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
All right, Mike, we'll see you in just a minute. All right, guys, if you are just joining us, I'm Hannah Chalker. You're watching Roll Title, the National Championship Special. And today's a great show. We just showed you the parade. If you're just now joining us, you're going to want to roll back and start from the beginning once we get off live here at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Central Time, and watch our parade coverage again. But stick with us because just it's 3:16 Eastern Time, so 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central Time sharp. We will have the ceremony in full. We're going to toss it over to Alabama's Chris Stewart, and he's going to host it. We'll hear from Nick Saban. We'll hear from Greg Sankey. We'll hear from Greg Byrne. We'll hear from a lot of different people, so it's going to be awesome. And we'll also have all those trophies, Sugar Bowl trophy, National Championship trophy, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, we have a lot more going on here on SEC Country, especially on the Alabama page. We have an Alabama recruiting show every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Chris Kirshner and I will be going over all what you need to know on Alabama recruiting trail, so that's going to be a fun show too. All right, let's stick with the national championship vibe here, and let's hear what Coach Saban said about how he got back to his national championship ways in 2017. Here's Coach Saban.
You know, when we lost last year on the last play of the game, we said don't waste the failing is the lesson that we all wanted to learn, and I think the resiliency that this team has shown all year long certainly proves that they sort of learned something from that, and couldn't be prouder of a bunch of coaches and a bunch of players and the people in our organization who contribute to the success of the University of Alabama. You know, we've had this in our mind that if we were struggling offensively that we would give to an opportunity, even in the last game. And no disrespect to Jalen, but the real thought is, you know, we came into the game thinking that we were going to run the ball and be able to run quarterback runs, which we made a couple of explosive plays on. But just without the absence of a passing game and being able to make explosive plays and be able to convert on third down, I just didn't feel like we could run the ball well enough, and I thought Tua would give us a better chance and a spark, which he certainly did. And, you know, I couldn't be prouder of him taking advantage of the opportunity. We have total confidence in him. We played him a lot in a lot of games this year, and he did very well, and he certainly did a great job tonight. Well, it's not just about winning a championship. I mean, every team, you want to do the best job you can, and every team wants to be successful. And as a coach, you want to see your team reach their full potential. But as a college coach, and the thing that I like about college coaching is you have an opportunity to affect people. You have an opportunity to help players be more successful in life because they're involved in the program, whether it's personal development, academic support, graduating from school, learning lessons. The message to the team tonight after this game was, I hope you take something from this game and the resiliency that you showed in this game, and it helps you be more successful in life. So it's not just about winning a championship. I mean, I know that's what you all write about and what you talk about and all that. And we like winning, and we hate losing. But there's more to it than that. I think one of the things that makes me most proud of this team is, and I'm surprised nobody asked it, we've never had this many games missed by starters in a season, ever. And to be able to overcome that with the next guy up, whoever it was, to go out there and play the way they played together as a group, and trusted and believed in each other. And I think that respect and trust is something that's really important to have in a good team, and that's something this team had. You know, we try to create a culture of accountability for our players so that they can be successful personally, academically, and athletically. And when players respond to that and do it, I have total faith, trust, and confidence to put them out there. And so I have that into it, and I certainly have had it in Duran. He played when he was a freshman too. No, I think all year long we had lots of confidence in Tua, and we played him so that if this situation occurred, that he would be ready to play. And I know that he was never in a situation where we were behind and had to come back in a game, but the game experience, the confidence, managing the team, he does a really good job in practice. Jalen was sick a couple days before the Clemson game, and you know, the players really respond well to him. He's a good leader. He's very well liked by his teammates, and he's got a very positive, upbeat attitude that affects other people around him in a very positive way. So I think all those things are really positive attributes for a quarterback, and I have total confidence in him. But I also think that I should say that we would not be here in this championship game if it wasn't for some of the very good plays that Jalen Hurts made throughout the course of the year.
Just a reminder, that press conference was from the night of the national championship after Alabama won. We will hear from Nick Saban shortly when the ceremony begins at 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time. We'll hear from the captains and Coach Saban. Something that really stood out to me there, and I'm sure that it hit you guys hard too, is that this is the most starters that Alabama has ever had miss games, and they still won a national title. That just shows you the resilience of this team and what an amazing coach Nick Saban is. I'm seeing a bunch of you guys in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around about 10 more minutes for the ceremony. We're going to have the entire thing live. We've got a lot of people in here. Penny Moon says Roll Tide national champions. And then Dwayne Funkhauser giving some good luck to Calvin and Minka, of course, as they take their talents to the next level. But somebody who is also taking his talent to the next level, at least taking it up a notch, is Tua Tagovailoa. He is a storyline of the national championship, saving the second half of the game. And we don't know if we'd be sitting here right now if Nick Saban had not made the decision to put Tua in over Jalen. So Tua had a lot to say too after the national championship game at his press conference, and he says how the team even got there.
I mean, we practice throughout, you know, the year. We go in with the ones sometimes. You know, us freshmen, we're going with the ones sometimes. We trade reps with the ones. We go in with the twos, you know. And I think preparation leading up to this point has been the key thing, you know, with our offensive coaches helping us throughout the process, you know, and just building the trust within each other, you know, from the O-line to the receivers, creating a bond with each other. I think that's helped us, you know, build confidence coming into this game to where, you know, if you gotta go in, if your number is called, then, you know, you got to do what you got to do to give the team the best placement. Or how should I say this? You give the team the best opportunity to win the game. Making our state proud is the biggest thing, you know, and to be able to do this on a national level and a big stage is just a great opportunity. But you know, it's just great. It's just great exposure for us as well, you know, our people. And I mean, I just thank God that I'm here. You know, I do get homesick at times. I miss my family back home, although, you know, my parents are here. I'm talking about, you know, my dad's siblings. But, I mean, I don't know how Coach Saban found me all the way in Hawaii from Alabama, you know, so I just thank God he found me, and, you know, we're here right now. I don't know. The biggest difference from Hawaii and Alabama would probably be there's no beaches, you know.
Again, that was the press conference after the national championship. We might hear from Tua. We know we'll hear from the captains and Nick Saban in under 10 minutes here at the ceremony and trophy presentation. So if you're just joining us, you must have missed Mike Johnson's coverage from the parade. We had the parade live here on Roll Title on SEC Country. He also had the chance to catch up with some of our SEC Country correspondents, one being Mark Burnett, to get his thoughts on the season and today's big special day. Here's Mike and Mark.
Mark, it's been a couple of weeks since the national championship game. I'm still catching my breath. Can you believe what you saw with your eyes in that game?
No, I can't. I was right there across the field when Devontae Smith walked into the end zone with that pass, and I still can't believe what I saw. I think it was an incredible moment, one of the best finishes in college football history. And if you're an Alabama fan, luckily you came out on the right end of that thing.
I think Alabama fans are a lot happy for Devontae Smith. So, you know, I think it's interesting, too, looking back on the legacy of this team. I think that in 10 years, when you talk, you know, in 2027, when you talk about the 2017 national title team, What's the legacy, man? What are you going to remember most about this squad?
I think a team that bounced back from a ton of adversity. I mean, you talk about all the injuries, all just the turmoil behind this team with that defense and some of the things they had to deal with, losing that Auburn game and sort of backdooring into the playoff and people feeling like Alabama didn't belong, beating the #1 team in the country in Clemson, getting that revenge, and then knocking off, an SEC rival and a former defensive coordinator here in thrilling overtime fashion. I just think it's going to be adversity, and this team was able to battle back from a lot of stuff throughout that entire season.
Yeah, I agree. And so you wrote an article last year before the national title game, and you said that 2016 group, if they can finish, they'll be the best national championship team under Nick Saban or maybe ever at Alabama. The 2017 team got it done. Where does this team kind of rank since you've been covering Alabama and all the memories you have amongst this program?
I mean, it's right up there with all of them because what I mentioned in terms of battling that adversity. I mean, I've never seen the Nick Saban team have to deal with this many injuries on one side of the ball, at one position. Also, just the ballsy move of changing quarterbacks in the national championship game like he did. First-year offensive coordinator. You got an outgoing defensive coordinator. Just so many different elements surrounding that team. Obviously, got to give the nod to you guys in 2009. I remember you calling me out about that article. But, yeah, I think it was one of those situations where this team deserves respect, and they got to be right up there with the rest of the championship teams as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. They're right up with me, all the adversity they face, everything they went through throughout the season. Looking at some of the younger guys, obviously in the second half, give me the odds, man. Give me the percentage that we'll be back here a year from now, be doing the same thing. I mean, we got a lot of talent coming up in the program.
Yeah, I think it's very high. I mean, if you look at it, Alabama doesn't rebuild, they reload. Obviously, a few things to figure out in that defense, losing the entire secondary, losing some big-time defensive linemen in Deron Payne and Deshaun Hand. But I think they reload on that defense. Linebacker core could be one of the best Nick Saban's ever had. It's going to be a matter of figuring out who can play where in the secondary, getting some guys to step up. But I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama's right back here. I mean, you look at the 4 teams in the playoff. Oklahoma's losing Baker Mayfield. Clemson's returning a lot on defense, but do you trust Kelly Bryant to be a passer in some of these high-profile situations? And Georgia, they're recruiting well, but they're losing a lot of senior leadership. And I'll be interested to see how they respond from losing such a tough game. That's not easy to do. So I think it's a situation where Alabama could be right back in the top 4 next year.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's SEC Country's Mark Burnett, and he's already predicting we'll be right back in the same spot a year from now.
Awesome stuff from SEC Country's Mark Burnett and Mike Johnson. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on Roll Title. The ceremony and trophy presentation is just moments away. Let me give you a quick rundown of what's going on. It's on the north end zone of the stadium. It'll be emceed by Chris Stewart. You'll be able to hear from Greg Byrne, Bill Hancock, Greg Sankey, Gary Darnell, and other special guests. They'll also have the, of course, National Championship Trophy, the AFCA Amway Coaches Trophy, and the All-State Sugar Bowl Trophy. They are ready for us. We are going to plug in now to my buddy Chris Stewart, and here is the ceremony and trophy presentation in full, everybody. We hope you enjoy. We'll be back. Mike and I will be back after this.
Tell him we are ready to start production on the 7th. So today we present the Coach's Trophy Crystal Ball to the 2017 National Football Champions, Alabama. The Crystal Ball has been presented for 31 years, since 1986. It is truly a special award for special people who do special things. Coach Saban, please accept the trophy on behalf of the football coaches, players, all football programs, Amway teams, and the truly great Alabama fans and all fans of all great sports. Thanks. Coach, I trust you.
The most pressure-packed assignment of the entire day right there. Well done. This year's senior class posted a 53-5 record over the last 4 seasons. That is an NCAA record for victories. The class has also been a part of 3 SEC championships, 4 college football playoff appearances, and 2 national championships. Now please join me in welcoming each of the 2017 captains to the podium. First is first-team All-American, senior linebacker, Rashaan Evans. Rashaan.
Hey guys, we're going to get the signal back in just a minute. We're having some technical difficulty there. There is so much technology and communication going on there from Tuscaloosa. We are fighting to get that signal back as soon as possible. Chris Stewart was welcoming the 2017 captains. That's Bradley Bozeman, Rashaan Evans, Mika Fitzpatrick, Sean Dion Hamilton, and they also just presented them with the championship trophy. So having a lot of fun there as well in Tuscaloosa. Mike Johnson is there. We've got Mark LeBlanc, one of our producers, Michael Shalaba, behind the glass today. We were trying to bring you we brought you the parade live, and we were trying to get our ceremony signal back as soon as possible. But in the meantime, Mike Johnson is there earlier, and he caught up with one of our SEC country correspondents, Ryan Fowler. We'll show you that interview, and we'll come right back with the ceremony.
When you think back on this 2017 season, though, I mean, what's your favorite memory, favorite game from this year?
Well, you know, just looking at the way this team battled, I mean, it was, you know, doing a show in Tuscaloosa, we're kind of the pulse of the Alabama fans and the barometer to see exactly the way they feel. And it was, I think this is Nick Saban's best coaching job. No offense to your year in 2009. I don't think anybody expected 3 years into the Nick Saban tenure to win a national title. But just everything this team had to go through was, I guess, the way that I remember this team. Injuries. It seemed like, okay, one guy down, another guy would step up. 3 guys down, 3 guys would step up. And it was just, really, it was a reflection of that game. You know, the Georgia game, because it was like a roller coaster as well. You were emotions where you thought Alabama was going to win, then you had thought Alabama was going to get kicked in the teeth. I mean, it was just overall, it was a wonderful season, and you know, like, they were getting pretty good at this celebration thing. 5 out of the last 9 years.
Yeah, so tell me about it. Rank it for me. I mean, you've seen a ton of national title teams. You've seen, obviously, a ton of great players come through this university. Where does 2017 kind of stand for you? I mean, have you thought about that? Is it something you can't really compare to other teams, or do you think this one's at the top?
Well, I think each one of them has a different special meaning. You know, for me, being a youngster growing up in Alabama, 1992 was special for me. But then we get to Nick Saban era, and I think what Alabama had been through, and I'm talking about the coaching changes, the NCAA probation, and for you guys to win it in 2009 was kind of looking at the NCAA going, there's no way you can take us down. There's no way that you can take this program down. So that 2009 team was a confirmation, because you had players, and I don't want to mean this in a disrespectful way, but when you and many others committed to Alabama, it was not as easy as it is now.
Right.
Like right now, there's going to be 5 stars on this campus, and Nick Saban's going to roll out a plan of 65 draft picks and all these championships. Well, back then, you were offered the name Alabama, but not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I guess when you look at 2009, that was a special year. But then obviously this year, because of all the doubt, I mean, even I had doubt. I mean, I was planning on writing a funeral for the next 9 months at halftime, okay, because I do a 4-hour show. I do the Alabama Crimson Tide podcast here on SEC Country, and I was already planning the funeral. I mean, I'd already picked the pallbearers and the funeral director, because at halftime I thought there was no way this Crimson Tide team. So maybe that's what it is. You almost realize what it's gone, and then you're able to capture it at the end. I mean, it's electric, man. I cannot wait for the celebration to get started.
You brought it up. I mean, have you ever seen, in any situation, in any sport, have you ever seen a coaching change or a coaching decision really affect the outcome of a game and really be as big as what Nick Saban did last week?
No, I haven't. You know, I mean, you can look back at Nick Saban in 2015 with the onside kick, kind of grabbed the momentum in that game. But, I mean, we're talking about a score that was down. And, you know, I'm the president of the Tua Vailoa fan club. I think most people know that. And I'd been telling them, you know, this kid's special. But I couldn't even have predicted what that was to be able to come back. I mean, that kid is going to be unreal here. He's going to be one of those guys that, we don't want to start talking crazy talk, but, I mean, you look at all these wide receivers, all the wide receivers that are visiting this weekend, and you think, man, wow, if you can get that passing attack, and then we can just typically, I mean, here we are. This is Alabama. Like, at Auburn, they count one championship or whatever. But here in Tuscaloosa, I mean, we're celebrating a championship, and then we're looking ahead. I mean, I just caught myself automatically looking ahead to 2018.
Let's talk about that. Well, I mean, what are the odds that, we're back here a year from now trying to do the same thing? I mean, what percentage would you give?
Oh, it's great. Mike, I think it's really great. I mean, because what I was about to say is if you can get a typical Nick Saban defense, and I'm talking about, let's say that you can get 20 points. I mean, this offense is going to be explosive. I mean, I just look at that offensive line. You begin to look at those guys. You look at the backs. You look at the wide receivers. They get this thing cranked up, the points. I mean, they might as well just take 2018 and just bring it over here, and Bill Hancock can go ahead and do it today, and we'll start playing for 2019. But, when Nick Saban's legacy continues to grow, Ty and Coach Bryant, I mean, this one's got to be special, and it's a big celebration.
All right, guys, that's Ryan Fowler. He thinks the ball is going to keep rolling. I do, too. Hopefully we'll see you back here next year, brother.
Hey, no doubt. It's always good. Roll Tide, everybody out there. Have a great day.
Awesome stuff from Mike Johnson there in Tuscaloosa with SEC Country correspondent Ryan Fowler. We're still working on getting that signal of the ceremony and trophy presentation for you that shows just how crazy things are in Tuscaloosa right now. Mike Johnson earlier said it seemed like there was over 1 million people. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but there's so many people packed right there in the north end zone in front of the stadium that we can't even get a signal. But good news, I have good news for everybody. We are recording the entire ceremony, and we will be posting it separately from this show. So we're able to record the actual ceremony, but we're just not getting the signal. We're still working on it as we speak. While we wait for that to come in, we'll see who's all here. Kenya Tidewell says, we've done this 17 times. You may not like us, but you have to respect us. She's definitely talking to the haters there. And if you don't, that says more about you than you could ever say about us. Awesome stuff, Kenya. Caroline Huggins Terry said, we wanted to see the ceremony. Caroline, we've got good news for you. Right after we're off air here, which we're getting off air at 4 o'clock because that's when the ceremony ends, we have the entire broadcast. So we have the recording of the whole ceremony. So we will have that after this broadcast. We're just having a really tough time with technology getting it to our live feed. So it might be on a slight delay. Once we're off here at 4 o'clock, or as long as we try to get the feed, we are going to still be posting it, and we'll have the video in full for you. It just will not be live, but we will be posting it immediately after this show. Still fighting to get that signal for you live. We have some B-roll from the post-game celebration. Of course, Alabama defeating Georgia 26-23 in overtime. Get your thoughts on that game. And if you're just joining us, we also had the live coverage of the parade earlier today. Getting news that we might be getting the signal. And we are tossing it back over to Tuscaloosa. Looks like they're still giving out trophies. I know before the broadcast cut out, Chris Stewart was announcing the captains for 2017. That's Bradley Brosman, Rashawn Evans, Minka Fitzpatrick, Sean Dion Hamilton. They also rewarded the team the coaches trophy. I don't believe they've gotten to the actual national championship trophy. There you can see it on the bottom of your screen, and there you can see the coaches trophy as well. So again, this feed is breaking up pretty bad, but we are still recording this live. We are going to post it once we get off here. The signal Tuscaloosa is not working with us today, though. That just shows you how many people are there packed in to the north end zone. All right, let's see who else is here. I'm so sorry, guys, that we are not able to bring this to you live. We are going to continue to fight for the stream all the way through until 4 o'clock because that is when the ceremony ends. Let's see who's here. Brian Harper says, keep on rolling from Holly Pond, Alabama. Awesome, guys. Yeah, tell me where you're from, too, and we'll give you a shout-out here on Roll Title. I'm not sure if you guys have been with us since the beginning, but this is our 5th episode of Roll Title with me and Mike Johnson. We had 4 episodes leading up to the actual national championship game, and that was a lot of fun, breaking everything down leading up to the big game. Of course, Mike Johnson, my co-host, has been reporting live from Tuscaloosa, 2009 national champion. He was a captain on that team, an All-American. He's been doing a really good job there in Tuscaloosa, making his correspondent debut, getting some interviews with our SEC country reporters, Mark Burnett, Ryan Fowler. He was also talked to some fans earlier today. Hey, we have those fan interviews. Do you guys want to take a look at what some of the fans said? No, we're not going to do that, but we're going to take a look at what you guys have to say right now. Raymond Brewster talking to the haters. He says, everybody hates us because they ain't us. Love that. Ryan Garrettson says, Roll Tide from Haines City, Florida. All right, Ryan, Alabama fan, not a Florida fan. We like to see that here on the Alabama page. John Williams says, RTR. Caroline Huggins, RTR from Warner Robins, Georgia. Hey, we're broadcasting here live from Atlanta, Georgia. Mike Johnson is there in Tuscaloosa. Joyce Kane says, Roll Tide roll from Orange Beach, Alabama. So would have loved to be there. I know, me too. Mike Johnson's lucky duck gets to be in Tuscaloosa live. I tried to get them to send me, but, you know, Mike, the former, or the national champion in 2009, former All-American, he gets to go. That's okay. Mike's doing a great job there in Tuscaloosa. Raymond Brewster says, originally from Talladega, Alabama, but currently reside in Salmon, Idaho. Hey, I used to pass by Talladega all the time. I actually worked for the University of Alabama for 2 years, and my family is here, so I would take that drive quite a bit and pass right by Talladega. Alan Whitaker is here. Roll Tide from Huntsville. These comments come in so fast I kind of lose you guys for a second. Sean D. Heath is roll, refs roll. I've seen a lot of comments come in and I haven't really acknowledged them about the refs. Someone earlier today at the beginning of our broadcast said the refs should have been at the front of the parade, and that was funny. Let's see who else is here. Angela Brock, Roll Tide Roll. Thanks everybody for joining us and hanging with us. We are trying to get you the live stream of the ceremony and the trophy presentation. Technology is not on our side today. We should be on live with the ceremony right now. We had the parade earlier today. Technology was working for us, and now we cannot get the feed because so many people are packed right in front of the north end zone where the ceremony is taking place. So we're going to continue to hang on. The ceremony goes on until 4 o'clock. We're going to continue to fight to get you guys the feed. Mark LeBlanc, one of our producers, Michael Shalaba behind the glass, are working with our camera operators there in Tuscaloosa to get you guys the feed. We are working on it right now. But after this, we are also posting the actual ceremony, all the video that we have from it. We're just having a tough time getting it to you guys live, but we are going to continue to do that. This is Roll Title. If you guys haven't joined the show before, I'm Hannah Chalker. My co-host Mike Johnson in Tuscaloosa is Roll Title. We have a lot of really fun things on the Alabama SEC Country page. Chris Kirshner and I, he's also an SEC Country recruiting reporter. Him and I have a recruiting show every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time, and with about 30 minutes. We go about 30 minutes. Sometimes we go a little bit longer. We do the same thing where we take comments and questions and we get everyone involved there, and we have a lot of... Okay, I'm being told that we are going dark right now. We do not have the signal for you, and instead of listening to me ramble on, we're going to go dark. But you guys hang on right here to the SEC Country Alabama page, and we are going to come back as soon as we have a signal. Thanks everybody for hanging in there with us. I'm Hannah Chalker. This has been Roll Title, the Alabama Championship Special. We'll be back. Hang right here when we get our signals.